Welcome to the 20th interview from marketing-interview.com. We have Ranno Pajuri as our guest today. He is Chief Marketing Director at Coop Eesti. Coop Eesti is Estonia's leading network of retail cooperatives with over 320 stores offering high-quality products and services to local communities. Welcome, Ranno. How are you doing?
Hi, Noah. Thank you for having me.
Ranno, why did you decide to go into marketing and how did all of it start?
Well, at the time when I was actually choosing my future profession, it was an interesting but also very fast-moving period in my homeland. I'm Estonian by nationality, and I've lived almost all of my life in Estonia. And I graduated from high school on the same year when actually Soviet Union collapsed and Estonia broke free from the Soviet occupation. So if you look back on that period of time, you could say that what happened to Estonian economy during the first couple of years after the independence was restored was somehow well-administrated chaos. And the old economic system was gone practically overnight. And the new system was very rapidly, very fast adopted. So why I'm saying this is that marketing as a profession didn't actually exist before 1993 or 1994. The newly founded companies suddenly needed a lot of specialists in marketing. And it happened that during that time, I studied in an experimental college program that was started by the Estonian and Danish ministries of education. It was called Estonian Danish Business College. It was located in Tallinn, Estonia, and it was especially well known for its marketing education. So at the same time, there was a great demand for people with I would say some understanding of modern day marketing. And on the other hand, the only supply of those people came from either abroad or from those new college and university programs. And therefore, it was quite logical that most of my or many of my schoolmates got jobs in marketing very soon after graduation. My first job was actually in a PR agency. So I didn't start in marketing, but I realized quite soon that my true calling was in marketing. And I applied for a marketing specialist position at a small local bank. I was chosen as a result of that recruitment and have been working in a field of marketing ever since. So I could say that I haven't actually done anything else, but I've been able to do a lot of different things within the field of marketing. So that's my story.
How did your career develop further after you were in this small local bank? What took you to become then marketing director of Coop?
Well, it was so long time ago, so I don't want to sound like an old man, but basically this journey began with quite hectic movement from one position to another. But I all in all, I have to say that I haven't really planned my career. It has somehow the road has taken me to one position to another by chance or by a good opportunity. I have actually worked in marketing for more than half of my life, and I've only applied to a job position once, and that was my first job.
I understand. So while you were working in marketing, what has helped you to grow and develop the most? Was it just talking to your colleagues and to your bosses and learning from them, or was it more like self-education when it comes to, for example, books and studying in university, which is also kind of education? What has helped you the most to develop yourself?
You really need to be focused and persistent, and persistency on what you're doing right now and focusing on what is the most important always leads to some kind of success or reward. So sometimes it may take time to reach the next level, but persistency usually leads to some kind of reward. So that's what I think has helped me.
So how do you define the difference in strategy and tactic?
Well, strategic questions are something that basically formulate the framework within which you can make shorter-term plans. And basically, the easiest way to distinguish between the strategic and tactical questions is that what is the time span you're making this decision for? If it's a long term and you don't need to change that so often, then it's strategic. But yeah, maybe we'll come back to this. But basically, there are some major strategic questions that one needs to answer in order to have this framework. And tactics is something that you use to plan your everyday work to carry out the strategy. So sometimes, and actually quite often, companies talk about strategy, but actually think tactics, and it actually leads to a lot of confusion.
That's true. That's a good one. I think sometimes it's pretty hard to just get the bird's view, because you're so stuck up in your day-to-day work, and you just keep going and it goes good. But you have the strategy. Okay, now we're done with this part. We reached our goal. Now let's go to the next stage of our strategy. Sometimes it's kind of hard for me, for myself, to go back and view the full strategy and then execute on the next stage that I was planning in my mind. Because sometimes also you plan a strategy, and the strategy is good for the beginning, and you think this is the right path to do it. But then once you execute the first stage of the strategy, you might see that some part of your strategy worked really well, and then you have to adjust your long-term strategy a little bit.
So yes, that's true, and that's why strategy never should be too detailed, because the details are the ones that change fast. So you need to have quite general level of agreement. I would say that strategy is an agreement between different departments or arms of the organization. How do we actually reach the long-term goal? And those agreements don't need to be too detailed. Tactics is when the details come into the play, but in order for a good strategy to survive at least a few years, they don't need to go into too much nitty-gritty, so to speak. So it has to be quite on a helicopter view.
I understand. When you plan strategy for Coop, who is involved in planning the strategy? Is it the executive board, or is it the marketing team? Who is planning the strategy with you, or is it just you planning the strategy?
No, you cannot have a strategy alone. It's an idea. It's not a strategy. Strategy is something that you actually need to discuss and agree with all the important parties who help later on to carry out the strategy. So in our case, we have usually a project group or a task force that prepares different topics for decision making, and then the decisions are usually done by the project group and then discussed through with the regional cooperatives on different levels. And finally, when everything has been put together in the right sequence, then we actually talk this through also through our supervisory board, which is the highest management body in our organization. And once this has been agreed, we have a good framework that we can build on, and all the tactical plans that are then short term take the input from the strategy.
I understand. Do you also get outside help for your strategy, for example, from consultants and consultancy agencies?
It depends on the topic, but usually we don't. We have had outside help in very specific areas, such as our loyalty program, for example, and etc. But the marketing strategy has been something that we have been able to agree on with our own people.
I understand. So when it comes to training yourself currently and also training your team currently, when it comes to, for example, tactics, then are you using what kind of means are you using to train yourself and your team? Are you having, for example, workshops from agencies? Are you considered reading books, or you let them watch some YouTube videos? How are you currently training your team?
That's an actually very interesting question. We have agreed within our team that everybody should have one personal goal about their personal development in a year. So along with other goals, you may have something which is very closely related to your job. You need to have one goal, and that is like a promise to yourself and to your team. So we actually write them down. Everybody chooses the goal by him or herself, but we write it down, and then we monitor how people are doing on their promises. And it could be just a new technical skill, for example, or it could be some kind of a license or whatever, but it also could be as complex as taking part in some project which is totally out of the comfort zone. So the methods are different, but the end goal is that everybody gets better every year. We have had some in-house workshops on specific topics, and those are usually the best methods to learn some specific area. For example, when ChatGPT started to influence marketing, we had a day-long workshop with some experts who explained how to use it and what it is good for and what it actually doesn't do. But if you want to learn something really thoroughly, then I think the specific courses still are better than just workshops. And one online platform which we have found very useful is Conversion Excel, which we use.
Okay. And that's Conversion Excel.
Yeah.
They are very good. That's true. They are very big as well. I've seen a lot of these of the marketing website, like of the websites from them. And I didn't do a course yet from Conversion Excel, but I know that they have a big reputation also in the market, and they have very great people leading the courses. So when it comes to social media, do you also use social media to stay up to date?
Not to a big extent. I would say that, of course, myself, if I find something interesting, I read. But I still think that the specific platforms that are meant for online training are more structured and more efficient ways to learn something new.
Definitely, definitely. What advice would you give your child if he or she wanted to follow the same path as you and started from scratch?
Well, first of all, I think the world has changed so much that I have two sons, and if they wanted to choose my path, they actually couldn't, because the situation is so much different now. And fortunately, they have found their own ways, so we don't have to argue about job-related stuff at the Christmas table. So I could just give perhaps some general insight around on my understanding what young people who may consider career in marketing today, what they might want to learn. And besides general marketing theory, I guess it's very important to study also mathematics or statistical analysis, data science, something related to data, because it actually isn't a new thing. I would say that one of the most powerful buzzwords throughout the time that I've worked in marketing has always been relevance, and relevance can be enhanced by using data in the right way. So relevance is basically a synonym to personal approach. And if people feel that the brand or the company is relevant to them, it makes marketing more efficient. So that's why I'm saying that if you want to be successful, you have to understand how data can be used to make marketing more efficient. I've met a few marketing people who claim that they're not Excel people, meaning that they don't like deal with numbers. And I think that's a kind of outdated approach. So if you really want to be successful in marketing today, then you have to be an Excel person. So it's kind of a must.
That's a big one. And I don't see a lot of marketing courses teaching about the formulas actually from these KPIs that you're tracking, because I mean, you have all of these KPIs, like for example, click-through rate. You have, for example, your conversions. You have your conversion rate. You have all of these different KPIs that you're tracking. But the actual formulas for these, how do they set themselves together? This is something where I see a lot of need in the market, which is not given to the market. Me myself, I was just clicking through the internet to find all of the formulas for each specific KPI that was tracking, or actually for every kind of important marketing KPI. And I put it together in a big presentation with 100 slides almost, to just fully understand all of the marketing metrics that are important. And that's something that is really missing in the market, because everybody is talking about CTR and all of these metrics. But if you fully understand how they actually work and what they are about, then you will also understand how you can better them.
Yeah.
Right. And I really took a long time to build all of that stuff together, and it took me a long time to put this presentation together. I wish there was something like a nice book with some just formulas, marketing formula book. Then you have all of it together. It took me like 2 weeks to put all of this stuff together, and that's
maybe there is. I can't recall from the top of my mind, but I guess probably there may be some.
Could be. Maybe by now there could be some. So if your son wanted to take the same path as you, or some young person that you know, what steps does he need to take to become successful? I mean, you said it before. It's not the same like it was back in your time. But how would you say it would be possible in today's age?
Mm-hmm. It's I kind of thought about this question earlier as well. I really can't give you a formula how to be successful or what it takes for a person to be successful. But I think I've learned what leads to failure. And if you can avoid this, then it's better than just not being or being trying to be successful. If you don't have a meaningful plan on how you can be useful to your company or your client, or create value for your company or for your client, and you just try to do everyday job and hope that somebody else will tell you what to do, what you should do, then this usually leads to, or often leads to, procrastinating and mediocrity. So you do your everyday job, but actually don't develop very much. So it may take some time and maybe years to find out what is your own way and what you are good at. What you do in marketing better than others, and how you can actually develop those skills. But you have to figure it out yourself. No one else knows you as well as you do. So if you feel that, okay, I'm good at this or that, and other people also appreciate what I'm doing, then you just have to focus on your way and make a simple plan and be persistent. Again, persistency will be rewarded sooner or later. But I don't know what are the right steps to be successful. I've seen some successful people who actually didn't know how they got there. They just said that well, it happened. But the common thing what I've noticed is that everybody is really hardworking if they finally do something which is considered to be successful.
That's a big one. That's a big one. What insights do you wish you had when you started out?
That I actually should have been a lawyer. Well, I studied also law afterwards, and then I thought that if I had this understanding in very beginning, may have chosen different path, but it happened later in my life. So this supplementary education has been just like a background information for myself. But on a more serious note, I think that in that moment or in that place when I started, no specific advice or insight would have much changed actually what happened to me. And I think I just have to be thankful for this opportunity and the experience that I've obtained. And this ride has had its ups and downs, but they have shaped me to the person that I'm today. So I don't know if I could have done it in any different way. That's just been my way.
Did your law degree also help you in marketing?
To some extent, definitely, because the environment of regulations is becoming more and more complex. And as a marketer, you need to understand what your playground is and what is allowed, what is not allowed. That has helped me to avoid some stupid mistakes, and also I can easier talk to lawyers and counselors than before, perhaps. So to some extent, it has given me just the background education that you need to talk to educated people.
That's true. I had just one semester of law in my studies, but it also helped me a lot with my journey because I have to do not a lot of contracts, but some contracts. So I first do all of my contracts myself. I find some sources and put some stuff together that I would like to be written in my contracts. But then afterwards I give it to my lawyer. But to just be able to read the contracts and to understand it, even though you could also probably understand the types of contracts that I do without a law degree. I mean, it's not like I have big amounts of paragraphs, but it's just a couple of sentences, or maybe 2-page contracts. But it helped me a lot to understand what's necessary in the contract and which paragraphs should be almost in every contract. I didn't study law fully. It was just one semester, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it as well. Is there a moment in your career that you are particularly proud of?
Well, I think the moments that have actually made me really satisfied with what my team or myself have been doing are the moments when we have achieved something that nobody else had done before, or we have done something more successfully than it has been done before. And I could say that they're in different periods in my career, in different jobs, we have had different moments. If I look back, for example, I used to work for Eesti Energia, which is the state-owned electricity or energy company, and I was the part of in that team that prepared this energy company for electricity market deregulation in Estonia. And what we were most afraid of was that we couldn't be relevant enough or to explain people what will actually change for them, because electricity used to be just utility that you didn't actually think about, and it wasn't a service or anything. It was just some kind of commodity that was kind of given to you. It had to be there, and nobody had actually made any agreements about that. And what we managed to do was an unofficial world record. We managed to get the highest number or the highest percentage of electricity agreements before the market was actually open compared to other markets that had been deregulated. And that was, I think it was higher than 50% of the total number of potential agreements or contracts.
Wow.
And it was very important to get the market functioning, because if too few people get involved, then it could be legally deregulated, but it's factually still regulated. So more than half of the clients moved on the open market before the market was actually open. So it actually changed the entire game. And that was a result of a careful planning and a very complex strategy, actually. I can give you a couple of more examples if you want to.
Definitely, but if I may ask a question, what was the key to the strategy that made it so successful?
We studied the customer needs and understandings and also expectations quite carefully before making the strategy. And one key insight was that first of all, even though electricity is not something which today I would say is a very complex thing. You just go online, you make a contract, and that's it. But back then, since people didn't think about it, and it was also kind of a boring thing, it seemed to be very complex. Nobody understood what is the right package for me, or if you asked people how do they choose, or how would they choose a suitable electricity package, then they didn't actually know, and it sort of scared them. So we agreed on the value proposition from our side, which was built around simplicity. So we said that our products need to be as simple as possible. Our communication must be straightforward and quite transparent, no tricks, and so on. So I think holding on to that main value, what was throughout all those activities and areas that somehow influenced the customer experience, that was actually the key. So simple billing, simple products, simple wizards in the websites that led the customer to a logical conclusion, what kind of package should they choose, and then the easy sign up, and so on. So it's not just the marketing, it's related to other areas as well, customer service and so on, but basically the strategy was the same.
I understand. How did you study the needs of your target group? How did you find out about them?
Researches, both qualitative and quantitative. So usually if you want to understand what people think, then I would say that you should start with qualitative methods, focus groups or interviews, deep interviews. Then people give you the first insight, what is actually important. And then if you have the first list of expectations, you can put them into a system and then weigh what is more important than the other thing, is then controlling it by quantitative research afterwards. And that gives you stronger understanding what may people actually be moved by than just qualitative research alone.
I understand. If you want, you can go on with the best moments of your career, as you said earlier.
Since we have this sitting around the fireside and talking about my past, and I also worked for a telecom company called Telia, and there my team came up with the idea of how to use crowd data that telecom companies have for media planning. And we had this kind of a belief that we could do it better than the media agencies can, because we have more data. And we went through a company. Inside company was arranged an hackathon, which was arranged for screening new ideas, how to make things more efficient or improve customer experience or whatever. And as a result of that, we got the permission to build basically the first method or try it out for 6 months. And to make a long story short, we were able to actually come up with a totally new method of media planning, implemented it, and we also founded a special media planning unit within our company, brought down a lot of costs and made media planning much more efficient than the outside agencies could provide before. We had good comparison base, so it's a factual thing. And what I'm really proud of is that that was, to my knowledge, the first time any telecom company had done it in Europe. I think there was one in Canada that had done something like that before, but nobody in Europe, as far as I know.
What was different about this media planning that you did? That you did there? What was the difference between what you did and what the agencies did for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, the agencies, first of all, can use only the research data that is available on the market, and especially with TV, there are so few measuring points that the statistical error is unavoidable. But we use the crowd data, meaning that all the what do you call them, the digital boxes give signals what is going on, and of course it was anonymized, so we weren't interested in what is specific customer watching, but we wanted to understand how to find connections between some segments that have used some kind of a service or a device, and what they were actually doing, or how did they consume the media. And we used the digital box data for TV. We used crowd data, movement, basically mobile positioning data for outdoors and so on. So putting those things together, we were able to not only be more efficient in media purchase, but we also gave the entire marketing team a new approach how to find target audiences, not just by demographics, but also by behavior. For example, you could have a hypothesis that people with iPhones and people with Android phones act somehow differently. I don't know if it's true or not, but you can actually choose your target group by just the device, and then try to understand if they are actually different or not. You can't do that based on the data that you have on the market. So that was different, and we also took into account the entire process from making the ad to placing the ad. And usually the media agencies only focus on optimizing their own job, but they don't take into account, for example, production costs. That's the creative agency's job, right? So, but if you have an inside or in-house media team, they can basically optimize the whole thing. And afterwards, you can also measure those results much better, because you have also sales information, and you can match your sales information to against your media plans, and you can see what actually makes a difference. For example, frequency is usually something that media agencies only know, or the influence of frequency is usually something that media agencies only know based on some kind of research. But you can then compare your different campaigns to actually different sales results and make up your own mind. So that was actually a pretty cool thing.
That is pretty cool. Are there other achievements in your career that you?
Well, right now, last 3 years, I've worked for Coop Estonia, and we have also responsibility for the customer program or the loyalty program that all the Coop shops have. And that's actually one of the biggest and definitely the most popular loyalty program in Estonia. And we have made over the past couple of years a few changes to that. And one of them has been especially successful. When it comes to loyalty programs, then one thing which is I think becoming more and more important is understanding when to use gamification. And we introduced a feature which is a part of gamification, but it makes the program much more attractive than it was, and we call it Coop Lottery. It's not lottery per se; it's actually a series of sweepstakes that we arrange every month. But how it works is that the customer collects bonus points when they go to a shop, and they can use it as basically future discount, or the second option now is to convert those bonus points into lottery tickets. And if you have enough customers who do that, you can finance your lotteries or the sweepstakes out of that money that the customers have waived as the bonuses. So we can actually have a lottery every month with the main prize of a car plus several other prizes, and it has become self-financing or self-sufficient system that don't need any additional investment from Coop. And the customers are also happy because they like the thrill. Not all of them, of course, but the ones that like this kind of thing, they're very happy. And it's truly a win-win situation. So making marketing more attractive without having to pay more money on it.
That's pretty cool. What I also really like is integrating social media into these loyalty programs. It's not really commonly known, and it can be also kind of difficult because you would need another unit for it. But if people would post, for example, a picture or something in their story every time they come to Coop, they could also get some bonus points for this loyalty program. And then small people who have like open profiles that everybody can see, so also the workers from Coop get access to it. They can serve as influencers, as small influencers.
We have used social media for its original purposes, I would say. Social media used to be social media when people just wanted to share something with their friends, and when it comes to that lottery, we have used it on the national level, but also on a very local level, that people who have actually won something have shared and posted their winnings with their friends, and we have always endorsed those things. So sometimes those activities that happen like spontaneously could be much more efficient than some big campaign. So we've used social media especially to congratulate the winners, and then people who know them, they share it and so on. So it's actually a very powerful thing.
That's true. When it comes to your biggest challenges in your career, what have been your biggest challenges that you had to overcome, and how did you solve them?
Well, I guess the the difficult decisions that I had to make over the years have been always somehow linked to people. So how to deal with people in difficult situations, and it could be something that you need to make changes in the team, or there have been some difficult times in the economy and so on. And I think one thing that I've learned is that honesty goes a long way. So in those situations when there is no easy way to say it, just say it, and actually it builds trust.
That's true. That's true. I probably guess you had to fire also a bunch of people. I mean, as a director, you just have to do it. How do you deal with those situations?
Yeah, it's you just have to keep your feelings and what needs to be done sort of separated, but always remember that those are people. So it's okay not to be an asshole when you fire someone.
Yeah,
That's what you need to remember. And always try to stay as honest as you can, and end this relationship between the employer and the employee as nicely as you can. So
that's true. That's true. When it comes now to a nicer topic, to your marketing activities that you have used in the past, what marketing activities have proven particularly successful or useful to you?
mm-hmm. As I've already mentioned many times, I've been in this game for quite a long time now, and one thing that pops into my mind right now is that I have seen the rise and fall and now comeback of loyalty programs. The loyalty programs became very popular in 90s, and everybody wanted to have one. And the big example industry was the airlines. So the flyer systems were something like everybody took them as good samples and tried to implement them. And after a few years, some companies saw that those programs that had been introduced, they actually didn't create value, but destroyed value. So then some years went by, and in marketing conferences, many speakers would say that loyalty programs don't work. There is no such thing as loyalty. I've also heard several times that there is no such thing as loyalty. And now, especially in retail, but I think also in other areas, loyalty programs are actually making a comeback. And I have seen from my own experience that if done properly, they can actually make a big difference. And you can achieve much more with making your loyalty program or your offer more relevant to the customer than getting extra many millions of advertising money.
I understand. Yeah, loyalty programs are great for customer retention. How did that reflect for your company with the loyalty program that you integrated?
We are the market leader, so we have so many loyal customers, or as many loyal customers as we have households in many of our counties. So almost everywhere where we operate, the potential for growth in number of customers is already quite limited. So potential for growth lies in raising the share of wallet. So basically, the more relevant and more attractive is our loyalty program, the bigger is the chance that we can actually also grow the business or the turnover. So the same people, they just, we know that even our most regular people don't go only to our shops. So they share the expenses that they make every month between different retail chains. And my job is to persuade them that they bring a few shopping trips to few more shopping trips to Coop instead of going to the competitor. So loyalty program is a very important thing for this business.
That's true. That's true. So did you see more revenue coming in from the loyalty programs that you integrated in your company?
Yes, definitely. There is one rule that is not only true for Coop, but I think in many other companies that I've worked for before, is that there is a clear link between the business results or the personal revenue, what the client brings, and the number of different touch points with the brand. So the more involved is the customer, the more satisfied the customer usually is, and also the more profitable the customer usually is. So also for Coop, it's quite clear that the customers that use also our different services, also play the lottery and use our app or our self-service. They are the ones that bring more purchases to our stores also. So you need to be relevant in order to get the customers involved in your system. They learn how to use it, and then gradually but steadily they bring more purchases to your stores.
I understand. When it comes to your current challenges that you're facing, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing currently?
I think it's quite universal that we as marketers, we are losing well working communication channels with customers. Take, for example, email. If you look at your own, I believe you have a mailing program some sort. So if you look at the opening rates and the click rates, then you realize that you're actually reaching only a fraction of your total customer base. And even less customers come to the websites. And email, for example, has been the most important and central communication channel for direct communication with the customers. So we need something instead, because we're just losing this direct communication with the most important customers that we have. And one thing is clear, that the device where all this communication should happen, the most important device is a smartphone. So I'm guessing that what we need to build next is a kind of a new communication mix, which may consist of different applications, phone applications, some web solutions, some kind of messaging, social media, and what have you. So we need to restore the ability to reach our customers again, because we've lost it over the time.
That's a big one. I think email marketing is one of the best channel, if not even the best channel to do marketing with, because it's so cheap to do it, right? And you can reach such a huge number of people. But you are right that the numbers go down with email marketing for especially B2C marketing. I think what's coming right now is a big wave of SMS marketing and WhatsApp marketing. So what I see in the US, for example, every time, like I was in the US 1 month ago, and every time I went to the supermarket, I went to some small shop even, they wanted to have my phone number. And it takes such a long time to type my phone number in, but they give you some extra credit for it if you type in your phone number. So this is what I see coming right now, especially in the US.
Yeah. SMS, of course, has its limits, and it's also expensive. But I also believe in WhatsApp, and let's see. I guess the general name for that kind of communication is messaging. So what are the new channels in that area is yet to come. So I don't know what is the winner, but WhatsApp is a good potential channel. Yeah,
that's true. And I see that a lot of companies, they don't want your card. For example, I'm not quite sure how you deal with your loyalty programs, if they have a card then and they have to scan the card into the machine. But this is their recognition in order for them to get points for their loyalty program, just to type in their number. And that's kind of the excuse that they should put in their phone number. Please put in your phone number so we can give you some points on your wallet, so to speak. But yeah, I see that also coming in the future with WhatsApp marketing. But still, also WhatsApp marketing is more expensive than email marketing, right? You have to pay also per message, as much as I've seen from the services. But yeah, email is actually the coolest channel. It's kind of sad to see that it goes down. What marketing decisions do you admire the most in today's corporate world?
I like those brands that have been able to write down or pronounce a very clear purpose or vision that they have, and then actually put it into practice. And this is something which is, I would say, truly a strategic approach. And if you, well, an example is, or I can actually tell you a story about a Swedish company that makes hiking equipment. It's called Lundhags, and they are especially well known for their hiking boots. Their vision says something like it's a lifelong companion or something like that. I don't remember exact wording, but basically what they are implying is that when you buy your boots from Lundhags, you don't need to buy another pair.
Yeah.
And they have also designed those boots for this Nordic weather when it's, most of the year is wet, and they are actually of very high quality, and they are also very expensive. So if you buy Lundhags, they should last. And they are also explain it that why they do it is that making long-lasting equipment is the actual or true sustainable approach, so that you don't need to buy new stuff all the time. I have those boots, and having used them for many years, they lost one of their most important feature, which is waterproofness. So I called up the company and asked if they could restore this, and they said, yeah, of course, we do it all the time, and just send the boots over. And I live in a different country, so I sent them my boots, my old hiking boots, and a few days later I got a call from an elderly gentleman from Sweden, and he was the cobbler who dealt with my boots. And he called me back to say that, listen, your soles, the outsoles, looked quite worn out. You obviously hike a lot. So I took the liberty and put new soles on your boots. I hope you don't mind. Well, I didn't mind. And when I got those boots back, they looked like brand new. And that was really wow. I thought that this is when you have a clear vision what you want to do or how you want your brand to be known, and even this cobbler knows that this is the brand. But the most important thing is that we make lifelong companions, right? So this is something that I really like, and I tell this story and I use those boots probably as long as I need. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. There are very few companies who are doing their marketing and leading their companies like that. One other example is also Patagonia. Patagonia gives you also lifelong guarantees. So if you have any product and you don't have the invoice anymore, it doesn't matter, and it's ripped or it's broken, you can just send it back and they will send it back to you. Or like they will fix it or they will send you a new product. And that is something that's a big point that you made. That is something that is missing, especially in today's world, because we have all of these electronic devices like an iPhone and a Mac, and they're nice for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 years maybe, but then all of a sudden they break. And I think a lot of the devices are also made up to break in order for you to buy the next generation of device, right? And to make more money with you. And that's kind of sad to see. I hope that in the future we have a bigger rise on these types of companies, because as you said, it's true. They are the truly sustainable companies.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. What's marketing decisions, or what would you say is the biggest mistake that companies are currently making in marketing?
Well, I guess it's fair to say that different companies make different mistakes, but if I had to pick one, then it appears to me that it's quite common for not even small companies, quite big companies to actually talk about one thing and doing about another thing. And what happens very often is that every year when a company starts planning the next year, they talk about the strategy. And when the first quarter comes, all that matters is the quarterly sales results. And bunch of educated people all in the same room. Everybody knows that they're lying to each other. Talk about strategy, but think about tactics. And I call this corporate hypocrisy. So you basically tell lies to everybody in the company, and you know it, but it's the way it's done. It's like a corporate culture, and what it leads to is that actually this thing that they call strategy never get executed, and it also leads to this kind of vicious cycle that you can't actually execute any true or real innovation, because what happens is that you only focus on the short-term goals, and you only talk about the strategy, we never execute the strategy.
I understand. So would you say there would be is there a way to fix this type of company culture, or would you say that this is so deeply embedded that it can't be fixed?
No, I think it can be, but then the change must start from the top management. So top management is the one that actually says what is important in this company, and if the top management ensures that you deal with also the strategic goals, not only the short-term sales goals, then things can change. And I'm quite sure that it's not something that cannot be done otherwise than I've seen many times happening.
But don't you think that the shareholders could also get upset if the executive board of the company isn't doing what they would like the company to do, which is produce more money in the short term?
That's probably it. Sometimes when I was working for the bank, then somebody from Treasury told me that our strategy is actually driven by 25-year-old stockbrokers because they tell what is sexy and to the market, and then the banks follow it, not the other way around. So that was probably one of the reasons why the mortgage loan crisis happened in Europe and also in US.
Yeah,
because it was sexy, and banks just turned their strategies toward those things that made the shareholders happy.
Well, there were a lot of things going wrong with that topic, but yeah, it's came to a big crisis. I mean, there were a lot of institutions involved, right? That weren't doing what they were supposed to do and checking a lot of the details that should be checked. But when it comes to marketing activities, do you think what has the most or the biggest potential in the future when it comes to marketing activities?
Well, I've already mentioned the loyalty programs. I guess they are making a big comeback right now. And if you think about what the loyalty programs are made of and what's the purpose is, then of course there is a big part of technological development. But we as marketers very often focus maybe too much on the technological side. The true objective to have those loyalty programs is to build stronger customer relationships. And customer relationship management in general, or owning the customer relationship, is, I think, a concept that may change quite a bit in different industries. It actually has. If you, for example, think about the new companies that or business models that work on different platforms, for example, Uber or Bolt, which is, by the way, Estonian company, then of course they have been presented as technological companies or tech companies, but what they actually have achieved is that they have built stronger customer relationships than the taxi companies used to have before. So they own the customer, not the cars, and that's what actually changed the world in their business. So I think anything that can make the company, the brand, more relevant for the customer and contributes to the customer relationship strength is something that is interesting to look into. And also the other thing that comes along with the same topic is marketing automation. It already has actually made quite big change, but sometimes it's not very relevant. So if it becomes more efficient and more precise, then the relevance will also grow. So those two things, I think, are something that in many areas may change the game.
That's true. But I think there's also a very fine line between nice engagement between the customer and the company, and to stay on top of the mind of the customer, and then to annoy the customer, right? Because for example, this app, it's called Snapchat. It's a social media platform. You know it probably, right? And this app I'm not using really often. I just use it to see some old videos of me from 7 years ago maybe. But it sends me messages almost every day. And not just one time a day, but maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
Exactly. And that's what you just nailed it. The question is not about in frequency or in volumes like it is in advertising. The question is to be relevant, right time, right thing, and right amount. So that's why I'm saying that companies already are using marketing automation quite a bit, but there is room for improvement, because if you are annoying your customer, you will lose the strength, or you lose the relationship. And you already mentioned you don't use that app so much. So I believe what makes customer communication or loyalty communication more relevant is truly understanding when and what to communicate, and also the frequency and the amount. So yeah, nobody's perfect, but I think many companies have a lot of room for improvement there.
That's true. That's true. What is your vision for the future, and what do you want to achieve in the future?
That's another great question. A great American philosopher and living legend, Mike Tyson, once said that everybody has a plan until they receive the first punch in the face, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of deep wisdom in that saying. In other words, you could say that man makes plans and God laughs. But I just want to keep on doing really cool things as long as I can, and just let the road take me to the next good thing. So I keep an open mind and focus on what is important right now.
I understand. Would you also consider building your own company, or are you happy in being head of marketing of a great corporate?
I have had actually a small company twice already in my life. That it has some pros and cons, and what I liked about that is when you are rather a small company and you're happy with a lifestyle type of business, then you are basically the master of your time. On the other hand, what you're selling is your time, and so it's not really scalable. It's scalable to some extent, but not really like you can't walk away. So it's totally different, and there are nobody to replace you, in a sense that you do what you do and your partners do what they do, and it's not that easy. So perhaps I go back to that type of thing in the future, but right now I feel that I can make much more visible and much more valuable things when I can work for a larger company and make more sense, perhaps.
I understand.
Be more useful.
Yeah, that's always the biggest problem with doing some agency work, for example, and I've seen that in the past too. Even though you might have some employees under you, you are not replaceable, because you always want to give the best quality to your clients, and that almost always involves you to be there. And also to have this fine line between sales and then also doing the work, it's pretty tough, I have to admit. So that's why the agency model, I think, is pretty cool to start out. But I also want to step out of the agency model as soon as possible. It's been an interesting journey for me to get a look into so many different industries and to work with so many different clients. And I think it's really important, especially when it comes to marketing, to just find out, okay, what do the successful companies do, and what makes them successful, and what doesn't do the other companies do, and what makes them not successful.
Yes, because when you are in consultancy type of business, then what you are actually what you're offering is experience from perhaps other industries, and you can make principles work for other companies in different industries in different ways, and if you can compare those things, it could be quite useful for the client. So yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say that consultancy didn't suit me, but I would say that right now I feel that working for larger companies like Coop Estonia, I can make bigger difference, and that's what I'm enjoying right now.
That's true. That's true. So, if you wanted to build a company from scratch, which business model would you choose, and in what industry would you perform that new company?
Oh, I don't know. If I should build something from the scratch, I mean, you mean the company, not the brand, right? Kind of what business model would be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you really need to understand the business itself. So if I would build something, then it should be somehow related to experience that I've already had.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have this idea very clearly in my head right now. Otherwise, I probably would have done it already.
I understand. I understand. Let's come then to this question. I mean, it's suitable for what you're doing right now. How do you find suitable employees for your company, and what are you looking for in an employee?
I think the most important thing is to look for genuine interest in the job itself. So a successful candidate should really be interested in the job and want to learn and develop himself or herself in that job. So be self-motivated, I would say. That's the most important thing. And then, of course, you look at the experience, but the experience is not everything. Sometimes people with very little experience can be much more efficient in real life. And secondly, what I'm looking for usually is that I think that I prefer independent thinkers rather than the ones that are efficient, but they need to be told what to do. So I could give my team members more freedom, but also responsibility. Freedom always comes with responsibility. So yes, of course, you decide, but you're also responsible. And that combination has proven to be more successful than people with the people that could be quite accurate and perform well, but they need guidance all the time.
But don't you think it's a little difficult with independent thinkers because your strategy might not be the same as their strategy they want to follow?
No, I've never actually experienced that. It's sometimes, of course, you may have different opinions, and that's okay. And sometimes people find out later on that maybe the framework that the job requires is too narrow for them, and they leave. But usually. The independent thinkers also understand what is the focus, what is the most important thing right now, and understand that freedom comes with responsibility and limits. So you can't do whatever you want. It's never easy. So you can do whatever you want within some kind of framework. So just have to understand what it is.
I understand. Let's come to my last question, Ranno. Do you have a book that you would recommend?
Yes, I do actually. I discovered an American marketing professor Alexander Chernev a few years ago, and he's written several books, but the one that I would recommend is Strategic Marketing by him. He's a professor of the Kellogg School of Management. It's in the Northwestern University. And what I've discovered is that Alexander Chernev is a very practical when it comes to marketing, planning, and distinguishing those important things that I mentioned before, strategic questions and tactical questions. And it's really like a field book for anyone who needs to or who is in a position that they need to draw up a company's marketing strategy and tactical plans. So look it up. It's I think it's available.
Perfect. I will put it into the description. Ranno, I thank you a lot for this interview. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I wish you only the best for Coop and the future.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you.